Hi all, welcome to Tech Forum. In this video, let us see how to integrate AEM with Magento e-commerce platform through CAF framework. In some of our earlier videos, we have seen how to integrate AEM and Magento through AEM legacy connector. Okay, what is CAF? So let us see some introduction. CAF is Commerce Integration Framework from Adobe. So this is a recommended pattern from Adobe to integrate and extend commerce services from Magento and any other third-party commerce solutions with the Experience Cloud. The Commerce Integration Framework is a kind of add-on module for AEM, and this provides a set of tools, components, code, and documentation to accelerate the integration between AEM and commerce solution and reduce the TCO. Some of the benefits of CAF frameworks are below. The main benefits are the integration. It is an abstraction layer, so that we can standardize and encapsulate the integration with multiple systems. So we don't want to have multiple adapters to integrate with a different system. Also, this supports headless and omni-channel experiences, single page application and multi-page applications. Also, this supports GraphQL endpoints. So this provides serverless microservice based process and business logic layer for customization and extension of the commerce services. So it is a microservice based architecture. So CAF provides out of the box integration with Adobe solutions such as AEM. AEM you can integrate with Magento. Also you can have campaign standard integration and other e-commerce solutions. Also this will provide better performance because of the architecture, because the legacy connector works in a different way. Here like that also it will work in a it's more focused on server side rendering, but here it's a combination of server side and client side rendering, so obviously it will provide a better performance. So CAF on Adobe IO runtime. So we can have kind of CAF platform running on Adobe IO runtime. So this will enable two use cases. One is like third-party integration via microservice layer. This is act like a microservice layer, and also extensibility of microservice. You can extend the microservice and add the required functionality without impacting the source and target. This architecture is based on OpenWhisk and Adobe IO runtime. The main building blocks of the commerce services are serverless function. It will act like a serverless functions. So this runs on Adobe IO runtime, instead of on the isolated container. So stateless and serverless integration with the backend system, backend in e-commerce systems. So right now the extendability is not available. So it's Adobe is planning for 2020. So this is the kind of architecture CAF on Adobe IO runtime. So clients connecting to AEM or like any other third-party application, they can talk to IO gateway through GraphQL or any other REST API, events, anything else. So then like it will have the functionality defined, microservices defined. So here we have customer namespace and Adobe namespace, means like we will have the pre-built function, and also customer can define their own functions. So then it can connect to the backend solutions. Okay, some of the major CAF elements. One is AEM CAF Cloud Connector. So this connector connects AEM with Magento Cloud GraphQL endpoint, Magento Cloud or on-premise endpoint, or Adobe IO runtime GraphQL. So here two options. This connector can directly connect to the Magento GraphQL, or it can connect to the IO runtime or CF platform from IO runtime. Then it in turn it can connect to the Magento Cloud or Magento server. So this will this connector will help AEM to retrieve the commerce data. Then AEM CAF core components. These components are server side and client side render components. This is a combination. So with Magento GraphQL support. So this helps to create static, cacheable, and SEO friendly commerce storefront based on AEM technology. So the legacy adapter is completely server rendered combination, server rendered and client side rendered. So the next one is the AEM CAF archetype with AEM Venia storefront. This is a Maven project. Provide the starting point for the AEM Commerce project. So we can create the projects or the skeleton of the project with all those required components through this archetype. So we can build and deploy. So maybe we can even do the required customization. So also this will support GraphQL endpoints. So Magento GraphQL endpoints or any other GraphQL endpoints. This in turn is the core components and the existing site core components. So now CAF extension layer. So this is like is a layer. It is in the middle. So it will host the complex business logic, but it runs on the Adobe I/O runtime. So whatever other components, whatever elements, whatever we discussed, it runs on the AEM, sits on the AEM. But in this extension layer, whenever you use a CAF in I/O runtime, so this extension layer can be utilized. So it is an extension of the the framework. It will provide. So like we can extend the end-to-end service calls by injecting the business and process logic. Is a kind of microservice oriented architecture. So as I already said, so due to this, you don't want to extend the client side or the server side. All your business logic, common business logic and mapping, you can add it into this extension layer. So then next one is the integration layer. Is used to again standardize the integration with other commerce solutions. It again runs on Adobe I/O runtime platform, whatever the architecture we have earlier seen. So this is like again it will map the enable the integration by mapping the microservice level and connecting to the third party API. So it will expose the microservices by integrating with the third party APIs. So so this is most of the things are like elements are available as a reference implementation. So even we will be able to integrate with the non-Magento Commerce backend. Okay, but in our demo, we are going to use AEM CF connector directly connected to the Magento GraphQL endpoint, like without CF on Adobe I/O. We are not going to use anything from Adobe I/O here in this demo. So it will the connector will directly connect it to Magento GraphQL running on my machine. So, but you can this AEM cloud connector even can connect directly to Adobe I/O instead of directly connecting Magento GraphQL. Then Adobe I/O can connect to the Magento cloud, but that will more suit for the cloud architecture. But here this demo I am using the my local installations. Okay, so the next one is AEM and Magento integration using CAF. So AEM and Magento are seamlessly integrated using this framework. This will enable AEM to access the Magento instance and bind the catalog data via GraphQL. What does that mean is in author instance, so we can bind the product and catalog from Magento through this GraphQL, so that it can be utilized for displaying the data to the end user. Also, like they can map whatever the way the product and category categories to a pages. They can create their own product and category pages, and they can pick the data from Magento through this GraphQL. Then another one is like this will always also provide a out of the box storefront called Vinia. So that can accelerate the implementation. It's a kind of a reference implementation. So if you see here, this the architecture. So main are like storefront, then core components, then like connector, the GraphQL connector, then Magento. So here if you see, it is a kind of server rendering and client rendering. So some of the components are React components, so that directly connect to Magento to fetch the data, the commerce data, so through dispatcher. Another one is like author connecting to Magento through GraphQL again to get the commerce data. Some scenario maybe AEM publish connect to Magento. So based on the scenarios, it's a combination again. Okay, so here the connector module and this all can be extended. So but right now in our demo we are just going to use the existing thing, existing modules, reference module, and to show the demo into demo. Okay, so let's now move to the setup and demo. So we now understood what is the CAF and what are the important elements to that. But obviously, like this is my understanding. So maybe Adobe Documents will give more detail on that. Okay, as a first step, we need to set up the Magento 2.3.3 version. So the Magento server can be downloaded from this URL. So I'm like going to install without the sample data. So maybe later I will, if required, I will install it. Okay. Yeah, I downloaded this based on your requirement. You can download and install that. So I installed through exam server. So the exam server also can be downloaded because I am configured in Windows server. So I downloaded the exam server and the last the Windows Server 7.3.12. Yeah, I downloaded this and configured. So then once the exam server is ready, maybe whatever you are downloading from here, you need to extract into the htdocs folder of the exam server. So it will create a Magento folder. Whatever the context root you need, you can create it, Magento or Magento 2. So I just left it with the default one. Yeah, so once the after that you need to start the server. After once the server is started, you need to go and do the setup. So yeah, you need to start both MySQL and the Apache server. So after that you can do the setup, but my setup is already completed. While doing setup, you may get some issue on some of the plugins, so the missing plugins. The first time when you try to this error will come during the readiness check. So you need to enable three of these modules in php.ini. One is SOAP module. Yeah, just to remove that semicolon. Now if you see the semicolon is not there in front of that, it means the module is enabled. Then another one is INTL. Yep, so same thing here also. So you need to enable that. Just to remove the semicolon, then XSL. Yep. So after that, the readiness check will be success, and you will be able to complete the setup. Okay, once the server is ready, we need to verify the GraphQL endpoints. I'm using some tool, GraphQL Playground, but you can use any browser tools also. So here you just enter the URL endpoint. So I'm going with HTTP because this tool won't support HTTPS, but technically the endpoint should be enabled with HTTP. So we don't need to do any specific configuration because server will by default enable it. Here you need to give the context root as Magento because my context root, then slash GraphQL. So yeah, so maybe you need to we need to provide some sample data. So let me copy that. Yep, this sample data we can use it for testing. Okay. Yep, just execute this. Yep, this means the GraphQL is working as suspected, so there is no issue. But when we configure the GraphQL initially, so you will get some error saying like the JSON start position 0 not found and all those issues. So to avoid that, as per the Magento development doc, the server should be running in development mode. So you need to enable the server. You need to change the server mode to development. So for that you can execute this command. So go into command prompt, then cd to the Magento folder, htdocs Magento. So you can see it to this folder, then execute the particular command. Anyway, I already completed, so I am not going to execute. Just I can show you. Yep. The command. This will change the mode to developer. Yeah, I'm not going to complete it. Yep. So we will be receiving initially some exception while accessing the admin pages. To fix that, as a first step, so validated.php. So we need to replace this particular string relative path and this file driver, whatever that value with this new one. This will help us to avoid that admin page issue. So that is one thing. The second thing is in di.xml file that is available in C, XAMPP, whatever, wherever you installed Magento app etc folder. So replace this particular specific string with this one. So here only we are changing the symlink. This is a Windows system, it may not work, so we are changing that symlink to the copy one, so same one. So after this you will be able to access the server without any issue, admin pages and other Magento. So now this concludes kind of the Magento server configurations already, but we need to do some more configuration. Like one is like indexing, we need to rerun this indexing. So again the same, this command can be executed through this Magento folder from the command prompt, index and reindex. So this may take some time to complete the reindexing. So now after this what we need to do is like when we installing the system, we did not deployed the sample data. So my case, because I'm going for a demo, so obviously I need a sample data. Otherwise you can go and configure it. My perspective, I'm going with for that you can execute this again, this command. So while executing this command, it will ask you for the username password. So that can be retrieved from that particular URL, the Magento website URL. Go to your account, you would have already registered, then click on my profile, access keys. So here you will have one private key and public key. The public key is going to be the username and the private key is going to be the password. So you will be able to with this you will be able to perform that sample data deploy. But while doing this step, or when you next step is maybe the upgrade step. So either one of the step you will be receiving some memory exception. So this will say the memory is not enough. So the configured memory is not enough. So we need to you will not be able to complete that upgrade or the sample data install. So for that we need to increase the memory. By default it is a 512. So that just be changed in the php.ini file. So yeah, go to the php.ini file, search for memory limit. So here if you see, here it is earlier it was the default value is 512 M, and now I change it to 2 GB. Okay, now then execute the upgrade command. So you will be able to complete the sample data install. So with this the Magento server is ready. So all the configurations and setups are completed. Now we may need to move to AEM setup. So yeah, let's go to AEM setup. For that, like if you see like AEM perspective, we have a connector and the archetype we already explained. The connector is help us to connect to the Magento, but because we are using it in a development or like on-premise environment, the connector can be embedded into our project with this command. So we need to include this command, so that it means is going to be included into our custom project. We don't want to deploy separately. So this one is the custom archetype. We need to download this project. So with that you can create the project with this archetype. So for that you need to install this archetype. Whatever you downloaded, this will get deployed to your local repository. Then you will be able to, using this you will be able to create a project. Yeah, so now this is the command to create the project. With the archetype you are going to create a sample project. Here you are saying like embed the connector also. So all other values are like default. Here if you see the bundle the version, whatever you are keeping the archetype version, so that is the same one you deployed to the repository in the previous step. So once this this will embed or include all the modules required. So you don't want to do any other thing. So now this will create a project. So then you can go and deploy this project. So I created a project with the name CAF demo. So that got created into this folder. Yeah, you can see this project. So this project contains the CAF demo. This project contains all the required modules. So first it have like all core and like all these modules. So as a first step, you need to give an install on the project, the parent node, CAF demo node. So install this project. So this will build and like bundle all the required modules. So once that completed, obviously first time it will take some time. So once that is completed, then we need to deploy the code for that cd to all folder. Then execute this command. Here there is a profile auto install all. So it means it will implement the like deploy the complete package. Okay, so now the deployment is completed. So after deployment, some configuration will be created. OSI console configuration. We need to configure those factory configuration. The first one, let us go to the OSI console config manager. Okay, search with CAF. Okay, first one you need to create this factory configuration. You need to create one new configuration. Here there is only this Magento this value Magento GraphQL service identifier. You can change it to custom. Remaining all values you can leave it. If you want whatever the value you can keep it there. That's fine. Yep. So then you can save it because anyway I already configured. I'm ignoring it. So second one is again the connection client configuration factory. You need to again create one. Here again same value you need to keep it here, the identifier whatever you kept it there. Then the GraphQL service URL. Here use HTTPS, localhost, Magento, the context root, and GraphQL. So then if you are not keeping this HTTPS, so obviously you will get some exception. Let me show the exception what I was getting. It will say the HTTP protocol is not supported. So obviously it's a required HTTPS. So then obviously you need to accept that self-signed SSL certificate because the Magento is because my local system it is enabled with test certificate. Also I increased the socket timeout to 10,000 because my local system had some performance problem to connect. Timeout was coming, so I increased. Yeah, so that is the change. So you can save this. Okay, now as a next step we need to do some page configurations. So the whatever the GraphQL service identifier we configured, here it is a custom, so that should be configured to the content nodes also. So for that first go to content CAF demo. With that project there is a node created, then us.html, that is the language node or the country node. So yeah, let's go to that. Okay, select, then go to open page properties, either one is fine, edit, then go to the open page properties. Okay, click on commerce, then select the GraphQL value as client as custom, store view as default. This you can check with Magento developer, but I can show you where we can see it. If you go to the stores, then all stores, it will list you all these stores, but here I have only the default store view, so that one you need to configure. Okay, now we need to define the products, or the bind the products. So you need to go to this URL, AEM product URL, so VAR commerce products. So there you will be able to bind the product, Magento product with the AEM, the catalog through the GraphQL. So I already done the configuration, but I will show you. You create on bind products, create bind products. Yeah, here you give some title, name, and then select this commerce provider. It will be a drop down list. Then you select the store view default, whatever we given there. Then root category ID, keep it as 2. Then project, you select that custom, we configure that as a custom. Then language, you can give as English. So once after that, if you save, once you save it, it will get synced. So just I can show you. See, it is runtime sync. So whenever there is a change, also it will take care. So it's loading from Magento through GraphQL endpoint. Yeah, you can see the whole data here, the category data synced here. Okay, so it's not like importing. You don't want to do any import from Magento. So just like AIM will sync and connect to Magento whenever required and fetch that. Okay, now the products are binded. Now one more change we need to do is configure the categories page with the root category ID. So for that you need to do it in the language master en node catalog page, because this is the live copy. Our US product catalog page is a live copy, so I am going to do it in the language master page so that I can sync it. So edit it, properties, okay, go to commerce. Yeah, if you see here there are so main categories, it will display all the main categories. Then you need to keep the root category ID, so it will display there. I will show you like where it will get displayed. So I already have the value. Now once you save this value, you need to synchronize so that the same value will get reflected in the select that page, live copies, select that particular live copy, then do a synchronize, so that whatever the value you configure here, it will get synced to the specific node. Okay, now the required most of the configurations are completed in AEM, but one additional configuration we need to do is we need to configure the dispatcher. So because I already configured the dispatcher in front of AEM after, so this is mandatory to make this end-to-end flow work, because most of the request, the cart request, checkout request are proxy directly from dispatcher to Magento, because AEM right now it's not having all the required components, product detail and all those things. Remaining all this cart, checkout, everything getting proxy to Magento. Here I created a file called like mod proxy, Magento proxy. Here I am configured all the required modules and all those things. Then I'm like here the main intention of this file is like configuring the proxy pass. So proxying all the Magento GraphQL request to directly to dispatcher to Magento. So the publisher will not get it. So get any request. So the last two lines somehow I'm not seeing what scenario it is used, but I just configured it because I seen some reference from somewhere. Okay, so this will direct all the request for the Magento /QL GraphQL directly to um, Magento server. So instead of coming to the publisher. Okay, now after this you need to include this particular file into the HTTP conf. Yeah, so I just included that file. So you can include wherever in that HTTP conf file. Okay, now the AEM setup also completed. Let me show you. Let us access the page. So let me first access the landing page. So the en.html. So okay, so here you can see the landing page having a search icon and the cart icon and all those things. Now I am going and searching with the product category name, and so you can see all this product here. If you see, like all the images are broken in the search page, the same case for the category page also. So but the product page I will show you, when you go to the product page the images are not. Why it is broken is like the URL formed by Magento is rejected by AEM. There is some backslashes, maybe because of the Windows system, I'm not sure, So AEM is rejecting, AEM not able to validate that those URL. So that is the reason it's displaying as a blank image. So because here it is the category page and search page using the cache image path, but the product page using the direct without cache. So this is the category page when I meant that root category configuration wherever. So here the category detail will be displayed. You can click on any category, so it will take you to the category page. So yeah, here all same thing, the images are broken, but if you click on any of the product, it will display. So if you not configure that root category and all those things, the category will be empty. So you need to configure if you want to display those category detail there. Yep, if you see that here the image is displaying without any issue, because like this is directly fetching, like not a cached version metadata. Here you can, the price is displayed, it is a dynamic whenever required runtime, like AEM is fetching that, the browser is fetching this React component. Okay, now let's see like how to test the end-to-end flow. Now for that I already opened a product and selected the color and the size, quantity also 1. So just click on add to cart. Yeah, here the add to cart icon is again blank. So this is due to there is another issue. I'm seeing this icon path is hard coded in the like loading indicator component, React component indicator.js into that particular path. So to VNIA like reference site path is expecting the logo from that particular reference project. So but my project name is different. It's not able to find the logo. So anyway, because of the demo, I just left it and I did not fix it. So may require some changes to fix that the path. Okay, that's fine. Now the product is added into cart. Now do a checkout. Fine, you add a zip to address. Yeah, then do a then add the shipping method. Now do a confirm. Yep. If you see that order is success, so you are seeing the order number also. Technically the order was created in Magento. Let us go and verify that. Go to the dashboard. You can see like Albin Isaac, this is the just order. And I can go into detail, but anyway, just for summary. So just now created that order. Yeah, this looking fine. This concludes the end-to-end demo. Thanks for watching.